Commander Taeho Kim sat in his chair at Luna Station, watching the stars like he did every night. The coffee in his cup was cold, but he didn't care. Space was quiet, peaceful even. Earth hung in the distance like a blue marble, and everything seemed normal. Then the screen started flashing red. "Sir, we have massive energy readings at the edge of our solar system," called out operator Jin-Woo Park from his station. His voice was shaking. "I've never seen anything like this." Taeho stood up fast, his coffee cup falling to the floor. The liquid spread across the metal deck, but nobody noticed. Everyone was staring at their screens. The numbers didn't make sense. Whatever was coming toward them was huge. "How many ships?" Taeho asked, walking over to Jin-Woo's station. "I don't know, sir. The energy signatures are off the charts. They're jumping through space somehow, moving faster than anything we've ever built." Within an hour, they appeared. Massive ships made of what looked like crystal and metal. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The ships didn't look like anything humans had ever imagined. They were organic, flowing, like they had grown instead of being built. Admiral So-Jin Park was in her command ship above Earth when the alien fleet took positions around the planet. She had been in the military for 20 years, fought in 3 wars, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. "Open a communication channel," she ordered. "All frequencies." The bridge was silent as they waited. Finally, a voice came through the speakers. It was cold, mechanical, without any emotion. "Your species has been deemed unworthy. Surrender your world or face extinction." Admiral Park felt her heart skip a beat. "This is Admiral So-Jin Park of the Earth Defense Fleet. We wish to establish peaceful contact. We mean no harm." The response came quickly. "Peaceful contact is not possible. You are carbon-based parasites. Your existence corrupts this galaxy. You have 1 hour to surrender." The channel went dead. Admiral Park looked around her bridge. Every face showed the same thing, fear mixed with determination. They all knew what was coming. All ships, battle stations. "Prepare for combat," she ordered. The first attack came exactly 1 hour later. Beams of pure energy shot down from the alien ships, striking major cities across Earth. Seoul was hit first, then Tokyo, New York, London, and Moscow. The beams didn't just destroy buildings, they turned everything they touched into glass. Captain Min-Soo Choi was on leave in Seoul when the attack began. He was having lunch with his family when the sky turned white. The beam hit the city center 3 kilometers away. The sound was like nothing he had ever heard, a deep, rumbling crack that seemed to come from the earth itself. "Everyone get down," he shouted, pushing his wife and children under the table. The shockwave hit their building seconds later. Windows exploded inward, and the floor shook like an earthquake. When the light faded, Min-Soo looked outside. Where the city center used to be, there was now a crater of melted glass that stretched for kilometers. His military training kicked in. "We need to get to the evacuation points," he told his family. "Now." Dr. Hyun-Woo Lee was at the Seoul Research Institute when the attack happened. The building didn't collapse, but the power went out immediately. He and his team grabbed their emergency equipment and headed for the basement labs. "We need to analyze whatever wreckage we can find," he told his assistant, Dr. Subin Oh. "If we're going to fight these things, we need to understand them." They didn't have to wait long. An alien scout ship crashed in the Han River an hour after the main attack. Military teams recovered the wreckage and brought it to Dr. Lee's lab. Lee's ship was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was made of a crystal-like material that seemed to be alive. When Dr. Lee touched it with his instruments, it reacted, pulsing with a faint light. "It's silicon-based," he told the military officers who were watching. "Not carbon like us. This isn't just their technology, it's part of them." "What does that mean?" asked Colonel Woo Jin-seo. "It means they see us the way we might see a virus," Dr. Lee replied. "Something that doesn't belong, something that needs to be destroyed." The ground invasion began at dawn the next day. Drop pods fell from the alien ships like rain. Each pod cracked open to reveal creatures that looked like walking crystals. They were 3 meters tall, with 6 arms and bodies that seemed to be carved from living diamond. Captain Min-Soo Choi had managed to get his family to an evacuation center, but the aliens found them anyway. The crystal creatures moved through the streets, their weapons turning everything they shot into dust. "Take the civilians and run," Min-Soo told the other soldiers. "I'll hold them off." He knew it was hopeless. His rifle barely scratched their crystal armor. The aliens moved with perfect coordination, like they shared one mind. When one of them spotted something, they all knew about it instantly. Min-Soo fired until his ammunition ran out, then kept firing with weapons from fallen soldiers. He managed to save 3 transport ships full of refugees before the aliens finally cornered him. But instead of killing him, one of the crystal creatures stopped and stared at him. It tilted its head like it was confused. Then it spoke in perfect Korean. "You fight even when you know you cannot win. This is unexpected." The creature raised its weapon and Min-Soo closed his eyes. But the shot never came. When he opened his eyes, the alien was walking away. Above Earth, Admiral Park watched her fleet get torn apart. The alien ships were too fast, too strong. Her best weapons couldn't even scratch their hulls. "Admiral, we're losing ships faster than we can count them," reported her tactical officer. "Recommend immediate retreat to Luna Station." Park wanted to keep fighting, but she knew it was hopeless. "All ships, fall back to the moon. We'll regroup there." As her remaining ships fled toward Luna Station, Park looked back at Earth. Fires covered half the planet. The beautiful blue marble was turning brown and black, but she wasn't giving up. Humans had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. They would survive this too. "This isn't over," she whispered, watching the alien ships settle into orbit, around Earth like predators claiming their prey. Commander Tae-ho Kim received the fleeing ships at Luna Station. Only 30% of Earth's defense fleet had survived. The aliens now controlled Earth, and millions of humans were dead or captured. But humanity wasn't finished yet. They just needed time to figure out how to fight back against an enemy that seemed impossible to defeat. 6 months had passed since the aliens took Earth. The beautiful blue planet was now gray and scarred. Massive mining operations covered the surface where cities used to be. The crystal creatures, who called themselves the Veltar, were stripping Earth of everything valuable. Yoonji Nam crouched in a cave deep in the Korean mountains. Around her, 20 other humans sat quietly in the darkness. They were all that remained of Seoul's population, 20 people out of 10 million. "The patrol passed an hour ago," whispered her second-in-command, Bora Shin. "We should be safe to move supplies tonight." Yoonji nodded. They had learned to live like rats, hiding underground, moving only at night. The Veltar had machines that could detect human life signs, but the deep caves blocked their scanners. "Any word from the other cells?" Yoonji asked. "Busan Group is down to 15 people. The Veltar found their main hideout last week." Bora's voice was tired. They all were tired, but the good news is that Captain Choi's group in the mountains has grown to almost 50. Yoonji smiled slightly. Min-Soo Choi had become a legend among the resistance. The Veltar had tried to capture him dozens of times, but he always escaped. Some people said he couldn't be killed. On Luna Station, Dr. Dayun Ko worked 18 hours a day trying to understand Veltar technology. She had pieces of their ships, their weapons, even parts of their crystal armor. But nothing she tried could damage them. "The crystal structure is perfect," she explained to the gathered scientists and military officers. "Every molecule is aligned exactly right. It's stronger than anything we've ever created." General Woo Jin Seo, who now commanded all human military forces, looked frustrated. "There has to be a weakness. Everything has a weakness." "I've tried everything," Dayun said. "Heat, cold, acid, radiation, kinetic weapons, energy weapons, nothing works. It's like they're made of living diamond." "What about sound?" asked Dr. Hyun-Woo Lee. "Crystals can shatter if you hit the right frequency." Dayun looked at him with new interest. "I hadn't thought of that. Resonance frequencies? Yes, that might work." While the scientists worked, intelligence, Officer Hae-Won Yoon was trying to crack Veltar communications. The aliens used quantum entanglement to send messages instantly across space. It was technology humans barely understood. But Haywan was patient. She listened to their transmissions. For months, looking for patterns, slowly she began to understand their language. What she learned made her blood run cold. "General Seo, you need to hear this," she said, calling an emergency meeting. The command staff gathered in the conference room. Haywan played a recorded Veltar transmission. The alien voices were cold and mechanical. "Translation is rough, but I got the main points," Haywan said. "Earth is just the beginning. They call it the Great Purification. They plan to destroy every carbon-based species in the galaxy." The room went silent. "How many species have they already destroyed?" asked Admiral Park. 17 that I can confirm from their transmissions. "Probably more." Haywan's voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "They've been doing this for thousands of years. We're just the latest target." General Seo stood up and walked to the window. Earth hung in space below them, no longer blue, and green but gray and brown. "So if we lose, every other intelligent species in the galaxy dies too," he said. "That's right, sir." Back on Earth, Captain Min-Soo Choi was leading a raid on a Veltar supply depot. His resistance group had grown to almost 100 fighters. They moved through the ruins of what used to be Incheon, staying in the shadows. "Remember, we're not trying to win this fight," he told his team. "We just need to hurt them and get out alive." The Veltar depot was protected by 6 crystal soldiers and several automated defense systems. Min-Soo's fighters had learned to be patient. They watched the enemy for 3 days, learning their patrol patterns. The attack came at midnight. Human fighters struck from 6 different directions at once, using improvised explosives and captured Veltar weapons. The crystal soldiers tried to coordinate their defense, but humans were unpredictable in ways they didn't understand. "Target the mining equipment," Min-Soo shouted. "Make them pay for every day they stay here." The raid was successful. They destroyed 3 mining machines and killed 2 Veltar soldiers before escaping into the ruins. But the cost was high. They lost 8 fighters. That night, as they hid in a bombed-out subway station, one of the younger fighters asked Min-Soo a question that haunted him. "Captain, do you really think we can win?" Min-Soo was quiet for a long moment. Around them, exhausted fighters tried to sleep on cold concrete. Above them, alien ships patrolled the sky. "I don't know if we can win," he said finally, "but I know we can make them pay. And maybe that's enough." On Luna Station, Dr. Da-Yun Ko was running her 100th test on crystal resonance frequencies. She had discovered that Veltar armor responded to certain sound waves, but not enough to cause damage. "Try increasing the amplitude," suggested Dr. Lee, "and focus the beam tighter." Da-Yun adjusted her equipment and fired a concentrated sound wave at a piece of Veltar armor. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the crystal began to vibrate. Tiny cracks appeared along its surface. "It's working," she shouted. "Look at the molecular structure." On her computer screen, they could see the crystal's perfect alignment beginning to break down. The sound waves were causing the molecules to vibrate out of sync. "How much power would we need to make this work as a weapon?" asked General Seo. "A lot," Da-Yun replied. "But it's possible. Give me a month and I can build you a prototype." Meanwhile, Admiral Park was trying to unite Earth's scattered military forces. Human ships were hiding throughout the solar system, behind asteroids, in the shadow of moons, anywhere the Veltar couldn't find them. "We can't keep running forever," she told the assembled ship captains during a secret meeting. "Eventually, they'll find all of us." "What do you suggest?" asked Captain Dong-Hyun Park, one of her best pilots. "We wait for the scientists to give us a weapon that can hurt them. Then we hit back with everything we have." "And if the scientists fail?" Admiral Park looked around the room at the faces of her officers. They were tired, scared, but not broken. Humans had a talent for surviving impossible situations. "Then we die fighting," she said simply. "But we make sure they remember us." Back on Earth, the Veltar were beginning to notice that their mining operations were slowing down. Human resistance was small but constant. Supply convoys were attacked. Equipment was sabotaged. Workers disappeared in the night. War Prince Kethmore, the Veltar commander, was growing frustrated. Other species had surrendered quickly once their cities were destroyed. But humans kept fighting even when they had no hope of victory. Increase patrols, he ordered his subordinates. These creatures are more persistent than expected. But the Veltar didn't understand that persistence was humanity's greatest strength. While other species gave up when faced with superior force, humans adapted. They learned. They found ways to fight even when fighting seemed impossible. In her mountain cave, Yunjinam received a coded message from Luna Station. Dr. Ko had made a breakthrough. Soon they would have weapons that could hurt the crystal invaders. Pass the word to all resistance cells, she told Bora. Tell them to hold on just a little longer. Help is coming. As she spoke, she could hear Veltar aircraft flying overhead, hunting for human survivors. But she wasn't afraid anymore. For the first time in 6 months, humanity had hope. Dr. Hyunwoo Lee stared at the brain scan results in disbelief. After 8 months of studying captured Veltar technology and biology, he had made a discovery that changed everything. Run the scan again, he told his assistant. I need to be absolutely sure. The results came back the same. Human brain patterns were completely different from anything the Veltar had ever encountered. Where the crystal aliens shared a collective consciousness, human minds were chaotic, unpredictable, individual. This is why they can't understand us, he explained to the emergency meeting of military commanders. The Veltar think as one mind. They can predict how other species will react because most intelligent life develops some form of mental connection. But humans don't have that. General Wu Jin Seo leaned forward. Are you saying we're immune to their mind control? Not immune, but resistant. Their psychic networks can't map our thought patterns. To them, we're like static on a radio. Admiral Sojin Park felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. How does this help us fight them? It means we can do things they can't predict, Dr. Lee replied. Every other species they've conquered probably fought in predictable patterns. But human tactics are too random for their hive mind to counter. While the scientists made their breakthrough, Captain Ji-hoon Kang was preparing for the most dangerous mission of his life. Intelligence had located a damaged Veltar command ship hiding in the asteroid belt. If they could capture a live commander, they might learn the aliens' weaknesses. Ji-hoon's team consisted of 12 volunteers. They all knew it was a one-way mission. The stealth ship that would carry them could avoid Veltar sensors, but it wasn't fast enough to escape if things went wrong. Remember, we need the commander alive, Ji-hoon told his team as they suited up. Dead Veltar can't answer questions. The damaged alien ship was drifting near a large asteroid. Its crystal hull was cracked in several places, and its energy systems were running at minimal power. Perfect for a surprise attack. Ji-hoon's team attached their ship to the alien hull and cut their way inside. The interior was unlike anything they had ever seen. Corridors flowed like water, and the walls pulsed with organic light. They found the Veltar commander in what looked like a control room. The crystal creature was connected to the ship's systems by dozens of fiber optic cables. When the humans burst in, it tried to disconnect, but Ji-hoon's team was ready. Stun weapons only, Ji-hoon shouted. We need it alive. The fight was brief, but intense. The Veltar commander was 3 meters tall and incredibly strong, but it was injured and outnumbered. Ji-hoon's team managed to subdue it using experimental sonic weapons that disrupted its crystal structure. Getting the prisoner back to Luna Station was the hardest part. The commander fought constantly, trying to escape or kill itself. But Dr. Su Bin-oh, the team's psychologist, had studied Veltar behavior patterns. She knew how to keep it alive long enough for interrogation. The interrogation lasted 3 days. Dr. Su Bin used a combination of psychological pressure and resonance technology to break down the commander's resistance. What they learned was both terrifying and useful. The Veltar Empire spans half the galaxy, she reported to the command staff. They have millions of ships and have destroyed hundreds of worlds, but they're not invincible. What's their weakness? Asked General Seo. Their hive mind. They have queen ships that coordinate entire fleets. Kill a queen, and every ship connected to it becomes confused and vulnerable. The problem is the queens are heavily protected and hidden in asteroid fields or nebulae. How many queens are in our solar system? Admiral Park asked. 3. one in the asteroid belt, one near Jupiter, and one hiding behind Saturn. While the interrogation continued, Dr. Da-Un-Ko had perfected her resonance weapons. The new resonance bombs could shatter Veltar crystal armor by finding the exact frequency that disrupted their molecular structure. The bombs are small enough to be carried by fighters, she explained to the assembled pilots. But you have to get close. The resonance field only extends about 50 meters. Captain Dong-Hyun Park, Admiral Park's best pilot, studied the weapon specifications. So we basically have to ram the alien ships? Not quite ram them, but close. The good news is that once the resonance field hits their armor, it spreads through their entire ship. One bomb can destroy a capital ship if you place it right. The plan they developed was audacious and desperate. They would use humanity's remaining fleet to attack all 3 Queen ships simultaneously. Ground forces would coordinate with orbital strikes to eliminate Veltar positions on Earth. We call it Operation Shatter, Admiral Park announced. If it works, we break their command structure and give ourselves a fighting chance. If it fails, she didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone knew that failure meant extinction. Captain Min-Soo Choi received the operation plans through encrypted channels. His resistance group would target the main Veltar command center in Seoul, while the space battle raged overhead. This is it, he told his fighters. This is what we've been preparing for. His team had grown to over 200 people. They had captured enough Veltar weapons to arm everyone, and Dr. Ko had smuggled down several resonance bombs for the ground assault. The Space Navy will draw most of their attention, Min-Soo explained. We hit the command center, plant the bombs, and get out before the whole thing comes down. Yoonjinam's mountain fighters would create diversions across the peninsula. Hit-and-run attacks would force the Veltar to spread their forces thin. We don't need to win every fight, she told her people. We just need to cause enough chaos to help the main assault succeed. The day of Operation Shatter dawned gray and cold. In space, Admiral Park's fleet moved into position around the 3 Queen ships. On Earth, resistance fighters prepared for their most important battle. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of her flagship looking at the tactical display. Red dots showed Veltar positions throughout the solar system. Blue dots showed human forces, so few compared to the enemy, but they would have to be enough. All ships, this is Admiral Park, she broadcast on all frequencies. Today we take back our home. Today we show these crystal invaders that humanity doesn't surrender. All ships attack. The space battle began with a coordinated strike on all 3 Queen ships. Human fighters dove through asteroid fields and planetary rings, dodging Veltar defensive fire. Captain Dong-Hyun Park led the assault on the asteroid belt Queen, his fighter loaded with resonance bombs. I'm going in, he called over the radio. Cover me! Veltar energy beams filled space around him, but Dong-Hyun flew like a man possessed. He had lost his family in the first attack on Earth. Today was his chance for revenge. He penetrated the alien defensive grid and released his bombs at point-blank range. The resonance field hit the Queen ship's crystal hull and spread like ripples on water. Cracks appeared along the massive vessel's surface. It's working, someone shouted over the radio. The Queen ship is breaking apart. On Earth, Captain Min-Soo's team fought their way through Seoul's ruins toward the Veltar command center. The crystal soldiers they encountered moved sluggishly, confused by the loss of their Queen's coordination. The space attack is working, reported Bo-Ra Shin. The aliens are losing their hive mind connection. Min-Soo's team reached the command center just as the second Queen ship was destroyed near Jupiter. The Veltar defenders were in complete disarray, fighting as individuals instead of a coordinated force. Plant the bombs, Min-Soo ordered. Bring this whole place down. As the resonance bombs detonated throughout the command center, the crystal structure began to collapse. For the first time in 8 months, humans were winning. The third Queen ship near Saturn tried to escape, but Admiral Park had anticipated this. A squadron of human ships was waiting in ambush. This is for Earth, Admiral Park said as her ships opened fire. When the last Queen ship exploded, every Veltar in the solar system felt it. Their perfect coordination was broken. Their overwhelming advantage was gone. Captain Min Su stood in the ruins of the Veltar Command Center, watching alien ships flee Earth's atmosphere. For the first time since the invasion began, the sky was clear. 2 months after Operation Shatter, everything had changed. The Veltar were no longer the hunters. They were the hunted. Admiral Sojin Park stood on the bridge of her rebuilt flagship, watching human ships patrol Earth's orbit like predators. Status. Report, she ordered. All Veltar forces have been pushed back beyond the outer planets, reported her tactical officer. Our hunter-killer squadrons are pursuing their retreating fleets. Admiral Park smiled coldly. The humans had learned from their defeat. They fought with a brutality that shocked even themselves, but the Veltar had taught them that mercy was a luxury they couldn't afford. Commander Tae-ho Kim led one of the hunter-killer squadrons. His ships moved through the asteroid belt like wolves hunting down isolated Veltar vessels. They showed no mercy, gave no quarter. Every alien ship they found was destroyed completely. Target acquired, reported his weapons officer. Veltar cruiser, damaged, hiding behind asteroid designated Alpha 7. Good, Tae-ho said. Signal the other ships. We surround it, then close in. I want that ship vaporized. The Veltar cruiser tried to run when it detected the human ships, but it was too damaged to escape. Tae-ho's squadron closed in from all sides, their resonance weapons charging. For the 10 billion humans you murdered, Tae-ho said quietly, then gave the order to fire. The alien ship exploded in a flash of crystal fragments that caught the sunlight like deadly snow. On Earth, Captain Ji-hoon Kang had been promoted to colonel and given command of the planet's ground forces. His job was to hunt down every Veltar soldier still hiding on the planet. His methods were efficient and ruthless. We've located another Veltar outpost, reported his intelligence officer. Underground facility, approximately 50 enemy soldiers. Standard procedure, Ji-hoon replied. Seal all exits, then flood the tunnels with resonance gas. The resonance gas was Dr. Dayun Ko's latest invention. It carried sonic frequencies that shattered Veltar crystal biology. The aliens died quickly but not pleasantly. Sir, some of the aliens are trying to surrender, reported one of his sergeants. Ji-hoon's expression didn't change. Did they accept surrender when they bombed our cities? Follow standard procedure. The sergeant nodded and sealed the last tunnel exit. The Veltar inside would be dead within an hour. Dr. Da-un Ko had become humanity's chief weapons designer. Her laboratories worked around the clock, developing new ways to kill the crystal invaders. Her latest project was something she called cascade resonance technology. The beauty of this system, she explained to General Wu Jin Seo, is that it targets the quantum links between Veltar armor pieces. Hit one ship with a cascade bomb and the resonance spreads to every ship in their formation. How far does it spread? Asked the general. In our tests, up to 50 ships. The entire formation just comes apart at the molecular level. General. Seo looked at the test footage. 50 alien ships reduced to crystal dust in seconds. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. How many cascade bombs can you produce? He asked. As many as you need, sir. As many as it takes. The Veltar tried to call for reinforcements from their homeworld, but communications specialist Bora Shin had become an expert at intercepting their quantum transmissions. She didn't just block their messages, she corrupted them. I'm sending false coordinates, she explained to her team. When their reinforcements arrive, they'll be scattered across empty space instead of Earth's solar system. What about their distress calls? Asked her assistant. I'm changing those too. Instead of calling for help, their transmissions now say that Earth has been successfully cleansed, and the fleet is moving on to the next target. Bora smiled as she worked. The Veltar had destroyed her hometown of Busan. Now she was destroying their entire communication network. War Prince Kethmore, the Veltar invasion commander, was trapped on his command ship near Neptune. Half his fleet was destroyed, and the other half was scattered throughout the outer solar system. He couldn't contact his homeworld, couldn't coordinate his remaining forces. Worst of all, he was beginning to understand that he had made a terrible mistake. These humans weren't like the other species the Veltar had destroyed. They learned from defeat, adapted to new situations, and fought with a creativity that the hive mind couldn't match. Status of our forces? He asked his subordinates. 60% casualties and rising, came the report. The humans are hunting us systematically. They're not trying to defeat us. They're trying to exterminate us. Kethmore had fought for 300 years and conquered 17 star systems, but he had never faced an enemy like humanity. Captain Dong-Hyun Park had become a legend among human pilots. He led the most successful squadron in the fleet, with over 100 confirmed Veltar kills. His ship was painted with the names of destroyed alien vessels. New target, his flight controller reported. Veltar battleship hiding in Jupiter's storm clouds. Copy that, Dong-Hyun replied. Tell the squadron to form up. Let's go fishing. Hunting aliens in Jupiter's atmosphere was dangerous. The storms could tear apart human ships, and the Veltar had learned to use the planet's magnetic field to hide from sensors. But Dong-Hyun had developed new tactics. We go in fast and low, he told his pilots. Use the storm currents to mask our approach. When we find them, hit them with everything we have. The Veltar battleship was hiding in the Great Red Spot, using the massive storm to power its systems. It was a clever hiding place, but not clever enough. Dong-Hyun's squadron emerged from the storm clouds like vengeful angels. Their cascade bombs struck the alien ship before it could react. The massive vessel broke apart in seconds, its crystal hull shattered by resonance waves. Another one down, Dong-Hyun reported. That's battleship number 12. On Earth, the liberation of major cities was proceeding ahead of schedule. Captain Min-Soo Choi led the assault on Veltar positions in what used to be Seoul. The aliens had turned the city into a mining operation, but now human forces were taking it back. Push forward, Min-Soo shouted to his troops. Don't let any of them escape. The battle for Seoul was brutal but one-sided. The Veltar soldiers fought desperately, but they were outnumbered and cut off from their command structure. Human soldiers moved through the ruins like an unstoppable tide. Resistance leader Yoon Ji-nam coordinated the civilian evacuation as the military cleared the city. She watched human refugees return to their homes for the first time in almost a year. Is it really over? Asked one of the civilians, an elderly woman who had spent months hiding in the mountains. Not yet, Yoon-ji replied. But we're winning. For the first time since this started, we're actually winning. The final battle for Earth's solar system took place above Saturn. The last major Veltar fleet had gathered there, hoping to make one final stand before retreating to their home system. Admiral Park led the human fleet personally, 300 ships, all equipped with the latest resonance weapons and cascade bombs. It was the largest force humanity had ever assembled. All ships, this is Admiral Park, she broadcast. Today we finish what they started. Today we drive these invaders from our home forever. The Veltar fleet was impressive. 200 capital ships and 1,000 smaller vessels. But they were fighting without coordination, without their hive mind advantage. They fought like individuals, and that made them vulnerable. Launch all fighters, Admiral Park ordered. Deploy cascade bombs. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the entire Veltar fleet was destroyed. Not a single alien ship escaped. Admiral Park stood on her bridge looking at the debris field that stretched across Saturn's rings. Fragments of crystal ships caught the distant sunlight, beautiful and deadly. Signal all human forces, she ordered. Earth's solar system is clear of hostile forces. We've won. But even as she celebrated, Admiral Park was already planning the next phase. The Veltar had retreated to their home system, probably thinking they were safe. They were about to learn that humanity didn't stop at defense. Prepare the fleet for departure, she told her staff. We're going to follow them home. It's time to finish this war once and for all. The Veltar had taught humanity how to wage total war. Now they were going to experience it firsthand. Admiral So-Jin Park stood before the massive holographic display showing the Veltar home system. After following the fleeing alien fleet across 50 light-years of space, the human armada had finally reached its target. What they found was beyond anything they had imagined. The entire system is artificial, reported Dr. Hyun-Woo Lee, who now served as the fleet's xenocide specialist. The planets aren't made of rock and metal. They're giant crystal formations. The Veltar homeworld, Keth Valor, was a massive crystalline structure orbiting twin suns. Smaller crystal worlds surrounded it like a jeweled necklace. Each world pulsed with the same organic light they had seen in Veltar technology. Population estimates? Asked Admiral Park. Based on energy readings, at least 50 billion Veltar across the entire system, Dr. Lee replied. Maybe more. The crystal structures make it hard to get exact numbers. General Wu Jin Seo studied the tactical display. Defensive fleet? Approximately 10,000 ships of various sizes, reported Intelligence Officer Hye Won-yoon. But sir, I'm reading something else. There are signals from 17 different star systems, I think the Veltar are calling back all their fleets. Admiral Park nodded grimly. They know we're here. They're gathering every ship they have for one final battle. The human fleet that had come to the Veltar system was the largest force in human history. 5,000 ships all equipped with resonance weapons and Dr. Da-Woon Ko's latest invention, planet crackers. The massive devices could shatter entire worlds by targeting the fundamental frequencies that held matter together. How long until their reinforcements arrive? Admiral Park asked. Staggered arrivals over the next 72 hours, Haewon replied. The closest fleets will be here in 18 hours. Then we have 18 hours to break their homeworld, Admiral Park decided. All ships, prepare for immediate assault. No mercy, no quarter. Today we end the Veltar Empire forever. Captain Dong Hyun Park led the first wave of fighters toward Keth Valor. The crystal planet's surface was covered with cities that looked like living jewelry. Beautiful spires reached toward space, each one housing millions of aliens. Target the population centers first, he ordered his squadron. We want them to know we're here. The first resonance bombs struck the crystal cities like hammers. Entire sections of the planet's surface shattered, sending fragments spinning into space. The aliens tried to mount a defense, but their fighters were no match for human pilots who had spent months perfecting their killing techniques. On his command ship, Dr. Da-Woon Ko prepared to deploy the planet crackers. These weapons were her masterpiece, devices that could find the exact frequency needed to tear apart an entire world. Target locked on the planet's core, she reported. All planet crackers are ready for deployment. Fire when ready, Admiral Park ordered. The planet crackers struck Keth Valor like invisible fists. The crystal world shuddered, then began to crack along massive fault lines. As the resonance waves spread through the planet's structure, entire continents began to break apart. Captain Ji-hoon Kang led the ground assault forces. His job was to land on the fragmenting planet and eliminate any Veltar who survived the bombardment. His troops had been equipped with portable resonance weapons and instructions to take no prisoners. Remember, he told his soldiers, as their dropships approached the breaking planet, these creatures destroyed 17 civilizations before they came for us. They showed no mercy, so we show none. The dropships landed on Keth Valor's largest remaining fragment. Ji-hoon's troops found a crystal city in ruins, with surviving Veltar trying to organize a defense. The battle was brief and one-sided. Sir, some of the aliens are trying to communicate, reported one of his sergeants. What are they saying? Ji-hoon asked. They're asking for terms of surrender. Ji-hoon looked at the crystal creatures cowering in the ruins of their city. For a moment, he remembered being a young officer before the war when humans still believed in mercy and justice. That man was dead. The Veltar had killed him along with 10 billion other humans. No surrender, he ordered. Follow the plan. Complete extermination. Meanwhile, War Prince Kethmore was aboard his flagship watching his homeworld die. The human fleet was tearing apart the Veltar system with methodical efficiency. Every crystal world was being shattered, every population center destroyed. Send a message to the human fleet, he ordered desperately. Tell them we surrender. Tell them we'll leave this galaxy forever. His communications officer tried, but the humans weren't accepting any transmissions. They had come here for one purpose only, to ensure that the Veltar could never threaten another world. The reinforcement fleets began arriving. just as Intelligence Officer Hai Wan had predicted. But they arrived to find their homeworld already, in ruins and a human fleet that had grown stronger during months of constant warfare. Commander Tae-ho Kim led the hunter-killer squadrons against the arriving Veltar reinforcements. His ships moved like sharks through space, using cascade bombs to destroy entire formations at once. "Another fleet down," he reported as the third wave of reinforcements was annihilated. "These aliens never learn. They keep coming at us in the same predictable patterns." Dr. Hyun-Woo Lee was aboard one of the research ships, documenting the extinction of the Veltar species for future study. His recordings would serve as a warning to any other alien species that might threaten humanity. "The Veltar represent the most efficient killing machine the galaxy has ever produced," he spoke into his recorder. "They destroyed 17 civilizations in their quest for galactic purification, but they made one critical error. They assumed that all intelligent species would react the same way to overwhelming force. The other species probably tried to negotiate, to find some common ground. Humans are different. When faced with extinction, we don't surrender. We adapt. We learn. We become something more dangerous than our enemies ever imagined." The battle for the Veltar system lasted 3 days. When it was over, every crystal world was shattered, every alien ship destroyed. Dr. Daeun Ko's planet Crackers had reduced the entire Veltar civilization to floating debris. Admiral Park stood on her bridge looking at the destruction they had wrought. The twin suns still burned, but everything else in the system was dead. 50 billion aliens, an entire interstellar empire, completely extinct. "Status report," she ordered. "All Veltar forces eliminated," reported General Seo. "We've also destroyed their industrial capacity, their shipyards, everything. The species is extinct, ma'am." "Good." Admiral Park's voice was cold. "What about our casualties?" "Minimal. Less than 500 ships lost, mostly to debris from the shattered planets. War Prince Kethmore's flagship was the last alien vessel in the system. His ship was damaged, his crew dead or dying. He sat alone on his bridge, watching the human fleets around him. A communication request came through from the human flagship. Kethmore accepted it, curious to hear what the victors would say. Admiral Park's face appeared on his screen. Her expression was hard, showing no emotion. "I am Admiral Sojin Park of the Earth Defense Fleet," she said. "You are the last of your kind." "We underestimated your species," Kethmore replied. "We thought you were weak because you showed mercy. To your own kind, we were wrong. Yes, you were wrong. We save our mercy for those who deserve it. You taught us that mercy is a luxury we couldn't afford." "What happens now?" Kethmore asked. "Now you die, and your species becomes a cautionary tale." Admiral Park cut the communication and ordered the final attack. Kethmore's ship was vaporized, in seconds, along with the last traces of Veltar civilization. The human fleet gathered in the empty space where Kethvalor had once orbited. Engineers began setting up a massive communication array, while linguists worked on translating the message into every known alien language. "Are you sure about this?" asked General Seo as he reviewed the message Admiral Park wanted to broadcast across the galaxy. "Absolutely," Admiral Park replied. "Other species need to know what happened here. They need to understand what happens when you threaten humanity." The message was simple and direct. This system once contained the Veltar Empire, a civilization that believed in galactic purification through genocide. They destroyed 17 intelligent species before attacking Earth. Today, the Veltar are extinct. Their worlds are dust. Their fleets are scrap metal. Their empire is a memory. This is the fate of any species that threatens humanity or our allies. We tried peace. You taught us war. Choose wisely. The Human Defense Fleet. The message was broadcast on all frequencies in all directions. Within years, it would reach every corner of the galaxy. Captain Min-Soo Choi stood in the observation deck of his ship, looking at the debris field that had once been an interstellar empire. Beside him, other survivors of Earth's invasion watched in silence. "Do you think we did the right thing?" asked Captain Dong-hyun Park. Min-Soo thought about his family, killed in the first attack on Seoul. He thought about the 10 billion humans who had died. The cities turned to glass. The children who would never grow up. They made their choice when they attacked Earth, he said finally. We just showed them the consequences. As the human fleet prepared to return to Earth, Dr. Da-Yun Ko was already working on new projects. Her planet crackers had proven effective, but she was designing even more powerful weapons.